going up against SBTC Esports. Too many letters for me early in the morning. I'm already brain fried right now. But this is a little bit of an exciting thing. I still am so hyped about Guri actually stepping in. Now, the one thing I am a little upset about is in the past, Guri has been like a hard farming jungler. The thing that I recognize him for, again, was clowning Tomrio, and he did that on Graves versus Hecarim. They had like 2 or 3 mirror matches of that. And while Tomrio did win the map a couple of times on the Hecarim, I think in the grand scheme it was a 1-2. The game I'm referring to had Guri had like 228 farm versus Tomrio's like 130 or something. It was almost a flame horizon in the jungle. While simultaneously doing like 40% of his team's damage in one of these tournaments. Like, this is why I'm so hype on this person. And now he's playing Gragas, which is not like, it's not that same type of champion. Actually, Emperor came over here to be a bit of a nuisance, but that's about all.
Yeah, he just poked his little head. Wanted to have a peek at where the Scion was, what was going on, gets full information of that jungle start.
A flash? No.
And I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Guri in here because there is something else to consider, and that is SBTC should have a lot of knowledge about BJ because they have carried over Saigon Buffalo's coach from before times in Ren. So we had a lot of discussions of seeing how BJ's early pathings were great and how much and how to contribute that to great sort of setups with Ren, and because one of our complaints about Buffalo was if things went off script in the early game, they started to look lost. But when they went to script, it was perfect. It was beautiful. Guri is now in. Guri is brand new and has never been under Ren, and they might not be ready for this game coming up.
Okay. Yeah, the ward is going to be gone. Now Guri just has to wait for the E cooldown, and there's a double marksman lane. Any amount of CC could be devastating here. We'll see if Taki and Shogun can hit 3 as well. Oh, the bird just caught him, and here's the NK as well. Guri's just going to have to get out of a bad situation. It could have gone a lot worse, 100%. That arrow coming out at the last possible second. Now DNK is going to go hunt him, most likely with the wave pushed in to see if he could take away any sort of camps. But this bot side is all but gone. Just the blue buff that's being contested now by DNK. It's double marksman. Actually, everybody's stepping up here. Here's Taki. He jumped the wave just to make sure he could be here in time. Shogun's also going to be available. Froggy's the first one off the wave, too, as Renekton wants to join. Yeah, that's going to be a huge play. Guri's going to flash E in. He's going to be able to find a little bit of something. DNK wants to find a first blood over to Shogun. Guri is going to get brought down. He's either too many spears inside of him. Now Shogun's going to get brought down as well. Paulette just has too much to worry about. And now Slater actually flashes over the wall to find Taki, and Taki just goes over top of the other wall and completely clowns Slater. It's a 2-for-1 for SE.
I was hoping Paulette would try and push Taki back towards the tri-brush so Slater could stay and pick it up, but it doesn't really matter. It's 2 kills for the SBTC bot lane. It's just the one over to Saigon Buffalo, and you'll take that. Even though you lost that first blood, the Callista and Ashe are exactly where they want to be. Mid laners couldn't get involved either. So this blue buff, it's Guri making the call. Just go all in on DNK and try to remove him, but it ends up Shogun overcommitting for that follow flash, and these slows are just so much early on. You can't get away. You don't have dash cooldowns, and it's a simple double kill for Slater. This was fun, but trying to predict the flash, but Taki's just like, oh, okay, I'll go this way then. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry for asking.
I think there was just a bit of disconnect because I had seen Froggy trying to get off the wave and ended up not. So they might have called it off, I think, in the midst of everything because everybody was pulling back on SE. And I'm not sure if it was Guri saying, okay, I'm going anyway, or what the situation was. But Froggy had first move there. So Froggy had come in on the back. Think about a shock blast hitting Slater and Paulette. They likely would not have been able to step forward the way that they had so aggressively in order to make that play against Shogun, potentially force the flash from Taki. So and that's also a very common SGB thing, is just that, like, okay, even if Froggy sacrifices a whole wave, that's usually their shtick in a lot of circumstances. So it is a little strange that they called that off only to continue on the play anyway, because now it's led to a pretty massive advantage on bot side, as you had predicted prior. A little bit of bot-focused attention here from the side of SBTC.
Yeah, and we saw a potential move for the Dragon take from SGB, but they've decided to deny that, and DNK is still lurking. It's gonna be a little bit hard to pull it all off, but this now we've just resulted in an early Dirk Evolution that's not going to amount to too much because the pressure still should belong to double marksman because that's all they do. And that Ash arrow went out and spotted nothing, so now they just have to judge. I think they're predicting he's on top side looking at Palette's positioning.
I would say that too, especially with the coverage. A level 5 for Guri, as well as having DNK here, could be really, really good stuff. Might be even a wraparound from DNK. It's going to be an E, not going to hit anybody. The bubble's not going to hit anybody either. It's a flash to get away, and Guri is just getting a run down here. That is a rough situation. Just a little more patience might have actually led to quite a few good things, because DNK was starting to come in, thought he could actually tag Palette, but doesn't get that body bump to be able to set up either Shogun or Taki. And now, with the wave stacked as much as it is, this is a rough situation for SGD. They're going to get shoved off by Dia1. And yeah, that is not a good start to this game. The Lucian Nami getting bullied down quite a bit. A lot of kills, a lot of extra gold getting thrust into Slater and Palette from this early pressure.
Yeah, and that's pretty much a direct continuation of that play around the blue buff. No flash for Guri, but Palette still had his, so the engage just petered out. Even though the bubble from Taki was pretty good, it didn't matter because Palette just flashes out of it. Felt confident with that summoner spell in hand.
Yeah, had the flash been saved, I think it would have, like right here, like the flash almost certainly gets something. Notably, the barrier did get popped by Palette, so there wasn't a lot of like kind of a electrifying damage to be able to come through in the first place anyway. And they're down a level as well. Like Slater has a level advantage. There's so many things that went wrong in that circumstance for Saigon Buffalo. Although they are going to pick up first dragon as recompense for everything else that's gone on.
Yeah, the sort of nature of forcing someone back early and then resetting means they get to be out on the map faster and pick that up. But in the meantime, you've got pretty comfortable CS lead for Enpa in this top side, has had full control with no pressure from either jungler, and the mid lane's just even, so you're completely okay with that. And now, with the bot lane being pretty comfortably ahead, still lots of kills on the board for the bot side, you can just move up and put your attention elsewhere in time for this Rift Herald to spawn.
And
also, this is fun.
Does Saigon's composition scale hard enough? Like Jace is super strong later because you can just kind of dump damage, especially with double marksman with no true tank. Like eventually, like the Jace is going to have more than enough damage to be able to do something into this composition. But does that come quick enough for how far ahead right now SBTC is with the Callista? They should be controlling neutral objectives. I
will say it should be moderately difficult for Callista to really burn through this front line, but there is a Gwen there to help that out, so it should be okay. Stinker's gonna head bot, and what I like to see from Palette is we've seen a lot of the supports in VCS just rush Mythic, but Palette is one of the few who is actually bothering to go the Dirk first and go towards the Tumble Glaive, which is nice to see, because with that extra vision choke between that and the Callista spirits, should be great for them to push in and keep the snowball rolling as it progresses. And here comes DNK once again, heading straight to the bot lane.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something right now. That is a big ultimate from Shogun because he knocks down half of Palette's health bar. So it's going to be harder for Slater to set up like an ultimate. Otherwise, Palette might just get executed on the way in. Pretty close, I have to assume, for one of these supports to actually hit level 6. When Taki hits it in a second, gets the wave, might feel confident enough to actually make some sort of play happen against the double marksman on bottom side. Guri also sticking around on the bottom side of the map, just trying to make sure that both have what they need. Is the solo lanes have been left alone for the most part. Hosbed's just scaling up against the Gwen. Gwen's picking up damage, but Hosbed's slowly becoming a massive tank. And Jace, again, the longer you have to scale, the easier it is for this Jace to start to pop off and do damage. What happened on bottom side that Palette nearly takes the entire health bar? Taki didn't throw the wave either. He only just hit level 6, so that was a possibility that's still held here by Saigon Buffalo.
Just walked into a bush at a bad time, and this is going to cause so much trouble as Slater has to back right off because Guri is joining the party. There's going to be some extra plates going over, and that pretty much nullifies that Rift Herald grab in the first place from DNK. But in the end, you've had these solo lanes just sort of scaling up. Dia1 has made attempts to shove the wave into roam. At the top lane, it's just Enpa scaling versus Froggy scaling, and I'm taking the Gwen in that. I'm pretty happy with a fed Gwen who's just had free CS, free laning, and now it's just a little bit of back and forth. Small mistakes from Palette, but now has that arrow and can actually start to make things happen very aggressively with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and maybe we start to see Palette make the move, link up with DO1 and just chain that CC into kills.
2,000 gold advantage. This actually might be spiked even harder because now you've got 3 AD champions, 2 marksmen, and the Rift Herald here on bottom tower. Might just break the first tower of the game. Yeah, they're going to pop that Rift Herald. It's not enough. I think just now it ticked over to being just enough to be able to actually work with as Will. Oh, it didn't. It actually didn't. Yeah, I'm still not quite used to judging that, so.
Yeah, the new damage is not quite as much as it used to be. It used to be a guaranteed full 2 plates. Now it's 1 3/4, roughly.
Something like that.
But, you know, you still have that wave. Control the culling has just been used, and you should be able to hold that.
Big ultimate coming through. Guri actually loses the ultimate as well. Oh! What a kick from Shogun! But he actually sneaks out the backside. Now Froggy on the other side trying to find something into DNK. DO1's going forward. Guri's going to be able to disrupt him. So many low members on the side of SBTCE. They are the ones that pull the first kill as Guri is going to go down. Everybody here on SBTCE is, though, it's so much health, though. I think they want to keep chasing. I think they want to try to find something. I don't know what they have in order to actually find it. Froggy Shock Blast gets flashed away from by Palette, as that's going to be the end of that right then and there. It was such a close fight, remarkably, from the side of Saigon Buffalo, but nonetheless, a kill and full first tower here for SBTC Esports.
Yeah, they really just played that through a game of inches, cutting through that tower, and took a little bit of time for it to fall down, so a couple of shots went into them as well. But through it all, there was enough stacks to take down Guri, not particularly tanking on this jungle Gragas. And it starts off with an attempt onto Palette, but that Fate's Call denies so much of the attempted engage, and then it's just a chase down that goes pretty well. I mean, they're able to just keep the stacks up into Guri, and that's all they needed. The rundown from Ash and Callista is pretty powerful, but they couldn't progress any further than that because they did take a lot of health damage, as you said, and we're in danger of that accelerated shot blast on the way out, which took Palette's flash.
It would have been very, very close to also just a little bit of something. Look at the damage that's actually been done. And believe it or not, Saigon Buffalo has done more damage than the side of SBTCE, just because that last fight had to be so much that they threw between everybody. They had more than enough for like 2 full kills of champions, and it just wasn't in the right targets by any capacity. So very, very close to slipping in their way. They are down 4,000 gold now. It is a massive, massive Callista for Slater that's going to be here. Not to mention, again, the Rift Maker is completed already for Gwen, so Gwen is feeling great inside of a game like this.
Yeah, we're starting to see Saigon Buffalo trying to
play. Taki gets stunned up by Dia1. He's going to bubble. Is there going to find anything on a Slater? No, he gets body blocked by Dia1 now, and an arrow is going to tag up Shogun underneath of their own tower. Can't follow it up as Hosmet's here as well to help assist. Again, it's just little stuff here and there trickling over to the side of SBTCE.
Yeah, just finding these small angles, finding SGB out of position there. Early game damage is huge, and their big potential, as said, is great. And now SGB, kind of was caught Husband in rotation trying to swap with Deer and try and manage this Gwen. And I guess Taki was just trying to help him, and everyone just bounced on the fish.
That's very true.
Good blocking from Deer1 as well to save Slater.
Yeah, we haven't gotten what is a full-fledged fight, I think, right out of Saigon Buffalo, because there's been a couple of times. The closest we got was that bot lane play, and it was the closest they've come to actually winning outright, even though they were down a decent chunk of gold. It hadn't been spent yet by SB. It's really strange. What am I looking at? Can you...
What are we looking at?
Take a look at the items and tell me which one is out of place right now. What am I looking at? Please, somebody. I understand the premise of playing against basically 3 melee champions, even Callista in relative short range. Really? The only person on this team that's got poke. I'm talking about the Gore Drinker.
Oh, okay.
On Froggy. On the Jace, the Gore Drinker.
Okay. No, sorry. I'm just kind of used to Gore Drinker Jace by now.
I am not accustomed to the. Yeah. Why in this game though? I get the premise of it, but why would you want that over poke in a game where there's no tank?
That is a fantastic question. I guess Froggy really wants It's Froggy mentality. Froggy know one thing, and that is go in.
Big kick, Guri hits the rest of the team. Big flank coming in from the side of Enper as well, who's going to find quite a bit of damage on the back end. Froggy in the middle of everybody actually does quite a bit of damage, getting quite a bit of healing, and so many members still low. Somebody clean this. Please, somebody clean this. They can't do it. Nobody's able to jump back in and actually find enough damage to kill off anybody in SBTCE. Again, Saigon Buffalo does so much damage, and it just does not matter. As they can't win on the other side of the fight, they're going to lose Rift Herald as well.
There you go. That's might have been it, but oh dear.
Okay, Dia 1. Really rough situation. Shogun's going to find something. Guri is able to tank up that. Slater fancies himself a fight right now. I actually am a little bit curious about that, as Paulette is going to take a fair amount of damage from Shogun. Now it's Slater v Shogun. Shogun's just going to walk out of the situation. Is he going to be able to get away? I don't know. Dash gets him away. Slater's going to try to flash, find one more spear. Is he going to be able to get the Ren? And so it is just a full kills kind of traded back and forth between the two.
But in the end, the 2-for-2 is on the exit as Dia 1 fails to slice over the wall. And then the re-engage from Slater. And this, I mean, Froggy trying to justify his purchase, I suppose. But yeah, you feel like, I do feel like that, yeah, you have to question that decision. And it's just a grouping up and bit of a strange kick angle, trying to go for the knock through and not really missing, but it didn't really matter as these Gore Drinker mid laners just jump into the middle and do not die because they heal so much. And then it's just a little bit more upfront CC on the side of SBTC to keep Heart's men in place and bring him down. Don't get to see the back end, but yeah.
So, something I also want to note, like in previous splits, we have had an unrealistic amount of Shogun kind of carrying fights like that by being the kind of the forward-facing like spear or attack angle. Can we talk about like his champion pool this split has been terrible? He has not played Varus for a single game. I know it's been banned a lot, but has not played Varus, has not played a game of Zeri, hasn't played a game of Aphelios yet. Like, it's really weird that he's going away from some of the team fighting ADCs. Is that's going to be an arrow in, and they're going to find Shogun with that one. They're just trying to scatter to the wind right now. Shogun is going to get run down. He's going to be traded 1-for-1, but Hosmed now getting run down as well. And another stun down onto an additional member, as it's just Froggy and Hosmed and Taki that are running away. Actually, Hosmed was in Zombie. My apologies. I read that wrong. With the Rift Herald going down, this is an SBTC win. Like, I don't even know how else to say it. They've got absolutely snowballed this game to hell. And Saigon Buffalo has had zero answers since minute 1.
They're gonna get the third charge on the Rift Herald as well. That's
insane.
That tower will heal up a little bit, but that doesn't matter. It's a 9k gold lead for the side of SBTC. They're gonna pick up their second dragon, and with this much damage, you're loving the Infernal Rift choice. You are going to thrive under these conditions. And yeah, I've been fairly underwhelmed with a lot of the Lucian armies in this league, and this was a full engage to just try and get something back onto DNK, but they step too far forward. The re-engage is super easy with the arrow and then the flank from DO1 on the side. DNK does go down for all of SGB's efforts, but it does not matter. Look at just how much the Ashe is putting in more damage than the Lucian and the Jace. It's just upset. Yeah, I think SGB are just gonna try and slowly play this out and maybe think, okay, what are we planning for game 2, and then go in for a big wombo fight to just move to the next stage.
And I know when it comes to rookie junglers, we oftentimes we've judged them on a couple of things. Whenever I see rookie junglers, it's always like pathing and trying to understand that, and then it's also like how much are they carrying versus how much early action are they having. And while Guri, I think, had the right idea of heading to bottom side, the execution was never there. This is also not, again, the comfort for Guri. Like Guri is a farmer. He's somebody that wants to kind of put the team on his back in terms of DPS and stuff like that, which is also a BJ stick. I mean, we've seen him play the Nidalee before, play some of those kind of active junglers, which is why it was weird. They brought in Guri, who can fulfill like that Graves role, which is what I prefer to call it, because I think it's the easiest for people to kind of understand. And then they put him on Gragas, and they're like, all right, yeah, gank bot lane perma. Like, it's so weird that they had him try to try that against DNK for the first game out, and they've kind of been throttled because of it, right, in a large number of ways, because now their magic damage is limited. Guri's really, really far behind. Bot lane was never really in a situation that they could contest in any significant way. Shogun's got enough gold to be at least competitive in this game, but not nearly enough to be a strong enough force that he can carry fights. And so now they're sitting here up creek without a paddle, staring down a Baron that Slater and DK are kind of taking on their own. Nice wave from Taki. He's going to push them out of the Baron pit for just a second as they clear out vision and try to establish some foothold here. That's Enper, who's getting run at by Hosbed. If they all turn for Enper, they are going to lose the Baron, so they do have to be a little bit cautious about that. Enper is going to get knocked out. Froggy is here as well. They're going to be able to find the 1 kill in exchange for that Baron buff, as that is a shutdown going over to Shogun.
Definitely feeling that's worthwhile, though, as the defense is going to come in.
Okay.
Still have lots of potential to turn it around, and with the Ash Arrow missing and a fairly low health Bullet, I don't think they're going to try and commit to this 4v5 at all.
No.
Just try and defend the tower, and okay, this could be where it turns around, because this is a questionable decision from SBTC. I think you just let this one go and send Dia into a side lane. Okay, Dia. Okay, Dia. Calm down.
He's playing around with his food a little bit because he knows that there isn't really much like threat kind of to have here. And honestly, this Baron buff, with both mid towers down, bot tower might kind of crack. It's possible that they'll go for a full blitz on the mid lane and attempt to make that play happen. But more importantly than anything, it'll certainly set up third dragon for the side of SBTC, and they are up enough gold that it's difficult to fight. Froggy now getting kind of run at by Enper, who I think TP'd up here in order to be around. Now DNK, he's got to find him. Ooh, it's a decent kick. Now he's going to get shocked up underneath the tower. It is a 1-for-1. It goes to Taki, but I mean, you take that all day. Much, much better than just kind of losing a single member. Hosbed on the other side of the map is just farming away. They're going to lose this bottom tower, but can they hold more than that? It looks like there's not going to be much more of a push from SBTC.
Yeah, just 1-for-1, and you remove one of the Baron buffs. It's working out okay. I do want to see SBTC try and work on the 4-1. Unfortunately, they sort of started by overloading the bot side, and now they can't execute the 4-1 towards the end of the buff when the dragon is starting to spawn, because if they want to maximize it, they can 4-1 through the top side, and DNK, he's just feeling himself. He knows he's got such an advantage, but he just forgot that the barrel. He just can't get out.
And it's perfectly fine. Again, you're willing to take that trade because it did buy you bottom tower. Hosmed was on top side, so there's no real defense to be made against the kind of bottom side siege that was going to be coming through. And now, I'm still super, super confused about this like Gordrigger. Can you talk me through why the Gordrigger build is used in the slightest on this Jace?
Okay, so on the basics, the Eclipse change got rid of one of the only things Jace is really missing in
sustain,
game, and that is sustain. Yeah, that means people had to look for other options, and they settled on Gore Drinker. It allows you to be a lot more aggressive in your hammer form with the extra CDR and the ability to just heal off multiple members with that active. And yeah, so your poke does suffer, but it lets you be a little bit more versatile, lets you go in and be that big melee assassin once they do get down low enough. Plus, of course, extra CDR means you can throw out more and more poke missiles, even though they don't hurt as much. So yeah, you tend to see these Jaces go Conqueror rather than, say, the First Strike.
Hosmed did not look like a tank there for a second. He lost all of his health bar in basically no time at all. And that's actually get a full sprint back to the base with that ultimate, as it's not even a Baron buffed up team right now. It is just a normal looking team. No extra minion kind of damage coming in, as every outer tower has been taken. SBTC Esports can walk at Dragon anytime they want. That's the next objective. It looks like they're working towards. Mid lane's going to get shoved up by DNK. And I don't know that Saigon Buffalo actually has a contest for this. They're down 11,000 gold to 24 minutes. It's a defeating victory, or it's a defeating kind of loss for the side of Saigon Buffalo and SBTCE. Playing around Slater and Paulette, kind of taking massive advantage of this Ashe pick. I feel like the Ashe has been so impactful in this game from just the early moments when they had that one trade from Guri with the Flash E going down, getting first blood, and then immediately responding with 2 kills. It feels like that has been the snowball start that's led to the avalanche. It's been SBTC kind of going off to this huge advantage they've got.
Yeah, it's a little bit that, a little bit of SGB taking fights they shouldn't have early. Like, they full committed to that 3v3 on the bot side, which started the snowball, and they have not the best early pressure in these teams. Like, you kind of want some items on the Solution Army before they really get rolling. They are a mid-game duo, not so much an early game. Gragas is very, very squishy in the jungle. He's not super strong as a duelist in the early game, so works in, has a lot of CC to set up ganks, but in a straight-up fight with the enemy jungler, not the best. So we end up with a case of 3 really strong early game champions versus maybe 2.5. Maybe 2 all up with Lucian and Gragas making up a half each, and yeah, it just ended up going completely out the window for SGB, and from there SBTC just kind of kept making good plays and shutting down everything Saigon Buffalo wanted to do.
Little bit of damage being thrown out, kind of fished at with Shogun's ultimate right there, but that's about all that you're going to get. They are holding decently, and again, the more gold that you're able to throw into Jace, more gold that you're able to throw into some of your carries, the possibility of being able to get through a fight isn't ridiculous. Getting gold into Scion, I think, is also a good idea, because again, you don't really have this massive like tank killer. You do have Emperor, who's this massive, like obviously Emperor's shredding through Hosmed like nothing right now, because there's no magic resist kind of focus from Hosmed. But you get 3rd item, 4th item territory, maybe Hosmed gets to a place where like he doesn't just get absolutely ripped through by Emperor and all this true damage that the Gwen is going to have. But this just feels like a game that's been stalled out for only the reason that there isn't a really, really powerful forcing move from SBTC Esports for them to close the game out on.
Yeah, there's pretty strong relief play on SGB. There's a short range composition and good.
Very dead Froggy. And that might spell danger for no other reason. Like, you've got wave crashing in top, wave crashing in bot lane, and mid lane is now coming in as well.
Dominus.
Okay. Do you have anything else? Yeah, you popped Dominus and just kind of stood there menacingly above the tower before anything else. He can just be in top lane right now. That's the forcing. Yeah, that's really interesting as well. Hosmed is just getting auto-attacked to death, and again, Emperor's true damage is really coming in clutch to make him not look like a 10. Great wave from Taki does disrupt quite a bit of the engage that was coming through from SBTC Esports, but it's just not going to matter as they walk out with mid inhibitor. They can walk at Baron if they want to. They can walk, look for backs, something like that. That's Shogun trying to make something happen. Has to flash away to make sure he doesn't get stunned up and just killed. Trying to find a pick onto Paulette. Like, it's such a desperation play from Saigon Buffalo to find nothing.
Yeah, it will stop them from just turning and straight away taking Baron. But here comes the charge.
They're trying to catch him before they get anything else. Can they find anything? That's a big flag from Guri. Okay, get a little bit of something. Emperor is disrupted. No flash to get out. He's gonna have to pop some abilities just to try to get out over the wall. But yeah, okay.
He'll just kill them.
Can we FF? Like, what are you supposed to? Like, this is such a disastrous game. There's so much gold on SBTC. There's no way they're just shredding through this quickly. That's a nice kick on a Shogun who's going to get out of that situation. DNK not quite able to close that out, but now D1 in the back is going to be looking for something. That's Emperor getting one. That's going to be Slater getting a second one onto Froggy as soon as he comes out of stasis, and that is that. DNK goes down in exchange for 3. And honestly, run it Baron. Best case scenario, like, you're going to be able to grab it and you're going to be able to win the game. Worst case scenario, you probably grab it and then you back and then look for something else.
All right. Oh, okay. No, they didn't have a jungler. They do have Callista, but I've seen Siracucus take it. I believed in the bubble, but Taki does not believe in the bubble. So easy drip Baron for the side of SBTC, and just gonna have to wait for the closeout. They've got a minute until Infernal Soul, and they can grab that if they want. They have an open mid lane to just run down, and this is just an attempt to try and salvage while the stakes are low, but they can't really get anything done. The Emperor is just able to sit in this state and just kill Green, essentially a 1v4. And then Slaters can drain tank. Hosmed is not particularly tanky when there are double black cleavers to make his armor feel a little bit useless. And then, yeah, Emperor got out on a bit of health. He gets to come back in. Dio went for the biggest flank of the century as well. And yeah, there's just a wallet. There's just a wallet between SGB and Victory at this point.
Like I said, for SBTC to have this commanding a win is kind of... It's really good. It's off the back of Slater. It's been a minute since we've really, I think, put Slater at the top of the table for being ADC. I know last split SBTC made decent kind of strides towards being one of our more competitive teams, and it is really nice to see them step up. It's also deflating to see that Shogun's split has not been, I think, anywhere near what we've seen the last couple. It's been a I think it was 2021 winter that Shogun made the debut, and we were so hyped on Shogun then took over the main starting role, and then since then has been nothing but electricity. And so this is the first time that I'm ever having like okay, Shogun's not having the greatest of splits. This game hasn't been good. He hasn't hard carried fights the way that you would always want him to. And so all of Saigon just getting kind of run through as their bot lane has fallen to pieces. That's Froggy immediately dead. DNK doesn't fall at all. They get the bottom lane inhibitor. They've got the Baron buff. They've got Infernal Soul. This game is over right here, right now. It's just a question of who gets to clean up everybody. As Emperor is just ripping through people with this Gwen. No response to be had now. Oh my God. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that is, everybody is paper on the side of Saigon Buffalo. Do not know how they could not figure out how to throw a single rock at this Scissor Lady, but it is going to be the first game going to SBTC.
Yeah,